almost intimate. You are standing at the edge of the known world. A Roman camp somewhere cold and forgotten. The fire is low. The night is long. Your shield arm aches in a way it never used to. Your knees take longer to warm up each morning. And your hair is no longer dark. Yet at dawn, the trumpet sounds, just as it did 20 winters ago. You have marched through mud in Germania, burned under the sun of Syria, watched men die in Britain whose names you still remember. You have carried Rome on your back for so long, your body has forgotten what rest feels like. So here is the question no history book asks clearly enough. What happened to you when Rome was finished with you? The truth about Roman retirement. Here is the first thing you need to understand. Rome did not believe in gratitude. Not the warm kind, not the quiet kind. Rome believed in contract, in discipline, in usefulness. And as long as you could march, obey, and kill on command, the machine kept turning. But when your years were spent, when your body finally reached its limit, Rome had answers. And every answer depended on one question. Had you earned the right to be rewarded? The Honour was clean. If you had served your 20 years in a legion, or 25 in an auxiliary unit, Rome gave you something with a name. Honesta missio, an honorable discharge. But do not mistake it for sentiment. This was not a farewell ceremony, not a warm handshake from the empire. This was a transformation. The state finally acknowledged, after decades of your blood and your obedience, that you had paid what you owed. You were no longer just a soldier. You were a veteran. And that title carried weight. Pace slows slightly. Sometimes it came with money. Real money. Under the Emperor Augustus, a military treasury was established, specifically to pay men like you when their time came. A common soldier could receive 12,000 sesterces, years of service, compressed into a single moment. Imagine standing there, decades of surviving things no man should survive. Wounds that healed crooked. Winters that never fully left your bones. And Rome places a number on all of it, sets it in your hands, and says, "This is what your youth was worth." But money was not always the reward. Sometimes Rome gave you something older, something quieter. Land. A sword replaced with a plow. And before you think that sounds like peace, understand what it really was. A veteran farmer settled on the frontier was still serving Rome, still a presence, still a warning. Rome was not being generous. Rome was being strategic. And sometimes it was a good life, a house, a family, a future built from the rubble of a military career. But sometimes the land was somewhere you had never been, among people who remembered very well exactly how men like you had arrived there. Because retirement did not always mean going home. Sometimes, after 20 years away, home no longer existed. For men who were not yet Roman citizens,
the auxiliary soldiers who had come from the provinces, from the edges of empire. Discharge could mean something even greater than money or land. It could mean citizenship. Think carefully about what that means.
You did not leave the army as the same man who entered it. You left with a new identity, a new place in the legal order of the world. Beat. A bronze diploma, not a souvenir, a document that changed your life, protected your family, proved your rights. The moment Rome finally looked at you, a man from the outside, and said, "You belong." The men who were broken. But not everyone reached that moment. Some soldiers were discharged not for age, but for what war had done to them. Wounds that didn't heal, illness that never left. Missio causaria, a medical discharge. Even compassion in Rome was administered by bureaucracy. And then there were those discharged in disgrace, missio ignominiosa. No land, no money, no dignity. The empire had a long memory, and it did not forgive those who dishonored it. And the harshest truth of all, the one history buries beneath the glory, most soldiers never reached old age at all. They died in the mud, from disease, from exhaustion, from wounds that healed just enough to keep a man alive until they didn't. Survival itself was the victory. So not Ellery happened to the Roman soldier who grew too old to fight. Some received money, some received land, some received an identity they were never born with. Some stayed useful, training the young, guarding the supply lines, becoming the living memory of the legion. Some were broken. Some were forgotten. Some were called back even after retirement, because Rome decided their debt was not yet paid. But almost none of them were simply released. Because Rome did not create soldiers. Rome created instruments. And an instrument, no matter how old, no matter how worn, no matter how many winters it had survived, was never truly set down. It was only repurposed. Fade. End of script.